calling them heathens, Gentiles, Greeks, foreigners.
Yeah, that was the middle wall of partition.
That was the middle
which
wall.
really shouldn't have been there because they were all Israelites.
That's it. That's it. And that's why when you read these scriptures, that's why we tell you have to have the understanding of what was going on. See, when you reading the scriptures, we're reading the scriptures as we were reading them today. You got to project yourself back in time to what was going on back there. See, the Pharisees and them, the wicked ones and the righteous ones, the Sadducees, all of them, they knew about the history. They knew of Antiochus Epiphanes, the Ptolemies, and how we were subjugated under these heathens, and they understood that there were Israelites, there were wicked Israelites that left the customs and religions of their forefathers and went and joined the heathens. And they understood that they became uncircumcised. They understood that they followed the customs and the manners and the exercise and the, calling themselves by Greek names, not calling themselves Jews, not keeping the Sabbath, not circumcising their children, so on and so forth. And when they read that history, they considered them to be heathens. Because a lot of them wasn't even calling themselves Israelites because it wasn't lawful to do that, in certain cases. So they understood about that history. So when Paul was coming back, when Paul was going to these people, beginning with Peter, they weren't going to the actual heathens. They were going to the Israelites that became or were unclean, so to speak, among these nations to bring them back, to clean them up, to bring them back to the Lord, because it was time for them to be brought back into the fold. Yeah,
the first they thought they were of that.
Exactly. Yep.
They thought they were heathens.
Yep. Till
they received the word. And the Spirit of the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, descended upon them, and they acknowledged their nationality. That's what happened with Cornelius. It says that the Holy Spirit descended upon Cornelius and the men that were his friends that were there with him in that house.
Right.
That's
right.
when they acknowledged their nationality.
That's right. So this is John chapter 7, verse 32. It says, the Pharisees heard that the people murmured such things concerning him, and the Pharisees and the chief priests sent officers to take him. Then said Yahushua unto them, yet a little while am I with you, and then I go unto him that sent me. You shall seek me and shall not find me, and where I am, thither you cannot come. Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go that we shall not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? So who were the dispersed among the Gentiles? The Israelites. When you go to the book of Deuteronomy 28, which is one of the scriptures, part of the curses was that we were going to be dispersed among all these nations, and we were going to serve wood and stone. So what did that do to us? That made us uncircumcised. That made us heathens. That made us unclean. So the Jews, knowing this history, they came back and said, well, look, where is he going to go? Is he going to go to those that were dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? So they were calling those Israelites that were scattered among these nations, they were calling them Gentiles. When you go into the Greek, the word there is actually Greeks. When you go to the dispersed among the Greeks and teach the Greeks,
they were calling themselves Gentiles. The ones that were dispersed among the other nations, they themselves were calling themselves Gentiles. Yep. Now, when you fast forward today, all of us were calling ourselves Gentiles. Hey, before I came into truth, I thought, well, I was so-called black man. I was a black man, right? Yep. Didn't we all thought we was whatever? You had some that thought they were Jamaican. Some thought they were black British. Some, and those are Gentile names till we came to the realization that we're Israelites.
Ooh, can I read this real quick? This is the book of 2 Maccabees 4 and chapter 4, verse 9. It says, besides this, he promised to assign 150 more if he might have license to set him up a place of exercise. I believe this is dealing with Jason. And for the training up of the youth in the fashions of the heathen, and to write them of Jerusalem by the name of Antiochians. After who? After Antiochus Epiphanes. Meaning what? That they took on those different titles, of Grecian titles.
Now the descendants of those individuals, right? Yep. Oh, I guess they never procreated. I guess that generation stopped right there, right? No, they were descendants. So what did they call themselves? And on so forth and so forth, even to the time of Yahushua.
That's why the Pharisees and them made this statement. Whither will he go? Will he go into the dispersed among the Gentiles or Antiochians or heathens or Greeks or whatever they will call themselves and teach the Gentiles? See? Now this is the book of Hosea chapter 8 verse 8. Israel is swallowed up.
I'm sorry, read that again.
Come.
Exercise.
Okay, this is the book of 2 Maccabees chapter 4 verse 9. It says, besides this, he promised to assign 150 more, if he might have license to set him up a place for exercise and for the training up of youth in the fashions of the heathen.
Oh, got him. These right here are vases. Oh, shit. Hold it up. Oh, just hold it. Let me just find this picture.
The Apostle Tar is looking for these different depictions of those Greeks back then.
Speak.
You know, and you can see the vases, the different architecture. They have beards. They're dark skinned. They're bucket naked. Showing their public hairs. And you can see that they're jakes. And that's what made them heathens. Even today when you watch those Olympics and different sporting events, they damn near half butt naked. Got all that stuff hanging out. This is they were going off. That's how the heathens were.
The Israelites that were following the ways, they got into that exercise and whatnot.
You can see their beards. Look at the beards on their face.
Yeah, that's right. So this is more proof, and that these Israelites fell away, from their religion, so to speak, from their nationality, from their identity.
That's why the Jews didn't want to have nothing to do with them.
That's it. Because they figured once they were like that was it. You guys are heathens, man. There's no way that the Lord can wake you guys up.
Jakes right there wrestling.
Yeah, look at
two
the
Jakes wrestling.
Yeah. And some of those individuals.
And why you think on the UFC you got Jakes dominating that, man?
That's right.
Dominating that. This guy, what's his name? John Jones, DC, Daniel Cormier. Who else? There's so many of them. Anderson Silva. You got this guy. What's his name? Rumble Johnson, Anthony Rumble Johnson. Hey, you got all these Jakes. You got this one Jake. They nickname him Minnie Mouse, man. He a little guy, but that dude, Jake got a beard and all that, man. So Jake is all up in the UFC, man. They're all in the boxing. The boxing came from the Greeks.
Yeah, football.
Yeah. Jake gets all into that, man. Yeah. They put their heart and soul into that, all right?
Track and field. Track and field.
She's all into that.
Yeah. Yeah, like Flojo. We talked about Flojo the last time. She just dropped dead. Yep. But you had Jakes into that, man. That's why the Jews didn't want any part to do with them. And some of those individuals that were heavy into that came into the truth. And they gave that up. Yep. They gave up, just like today. We got a brother right now. He was into football, wasn't he? Yep. And he gave that up to go and do what? To go and teach the word.
That's right. Look at that. Oh, sneaks.
Hey, look, hold up. Break the mic up. They're showing you that's Jake. Because they got it. That's supposed to be the black Olympians, but now they got the kicks on. They're showing you who they are, man. How they built.
That's right.
Nike became popular not because of the so-called white man. Nike became popular because of who?
Because of Jake.
Because of Jake. The slogan, just do it.
Yep.
That didn't come from a so-called white man.
Yeah, well, who did they get to promote this stuff? Michael Jordan.
Yeah, Michael Jordan had his Air Jordan. But let the so-called white man tell it. 100 years from now, Michael Jordan be a white man. Stevie Wonder will be a white man. Because he's the devil. The word devil means deceiver. That's what he does. He deceives.
All right, this is Hosea chapter 8, verse 8. It says, Israel is swallowed up. Now shall they be among the Gentiles, as a vessel wherein is no pleasure. You know, so you look at those pictures of those Olympians back then. That's man, that's a shame. That's a shame.
Butt ass naked. Now they wearing spandex. Look at that.
You know, and that's what Jake was doing, and that's why. That's what they do now, and that's why you keep going back to this. That's why the Jews in Jerusalem did not accept them, you know, because they considered them to be apostates, you know, falling away. That's why you had a group.